In economics, a market refers to all the various providers and buyers of a particular good or service. Because there are many different forms of goods and services sold, there are also different structures for those various markets. This is the first in a series of resources that explore the four basic market structures. We will name the structures. We then explain the various features that determine which structure a given market will take, focusing on barriers to entry. We provide examples for each different type of barrier to entry. There are four basic market structures: perfect competition, monopoly, oligopoly, and monopolistic competition. How does a market sort into one of these structures? It depends on a number of marketplace features. The number of firms engaged in selling the good or service help determine the structure of the market, as does the number of potential buyers for the good or service. Another important feature of the good or service is the homogeneity of the product. A highly individualized product leans toward one particular structure, while more homogeneous products tend more strongly to other structures. Perhaps the most important feature of a marketplace in determining its structure is the presence or absence of barriers to market entry. A barrier to entry is something that prevents new firms from easily entering a market. Sometimes these barriers are natural, being a part of the particular product sold. Other barriers are artificial, created specifically for keeping the number of firms in a market small. What are some examples of these barriers to market entry? A patent is an exclusive right to produce a product for 20 years. This gives a firm an impregnable barrier to entry while the patent is in effect. Once the patent expires, however, so does the barrier. A network externality is the idea that the value provided by the product increases as the number of users of the product increases. Think about social networking sites. If you only have 2 connections on a site, then your sharing the latest funny cat video does not reach that many people. However, if you have more connections, you will reach a larger audience. So if a particular firm has strong market externalities, it becomes very difficult for new firms to enter that marketplace. Other markets have allowable firms decided by the government in the form of licensing policy. To engage in markets such as gambling, liquor, and public transportation require government permission. Unless a potential firm can receive the appropriate license, they cannot sell that particular product. An example of a natural barrier to entry is when a firm controls a key resource. This control may result from the firm owning the particular resource, like a company owning telephone lines or railroad tracks. The company could also simply control that key resource. For example, the De Beers Company controlled nearly all the worldwide market for diamonds, because the company would purchase any site with any productive diamond mine. A final barrier to entry is a high cost of production. If we think about markets like automobile production or steel production, there is an inherent high production cost due to expensive machinery and raw material costs. These high costs make it difficult for new firms to enter the markets. Now that we have some idea about the features that help determine the market structure, what combinations of features lead to perfect competition, monopoly, oligopoly, or monopolistic competition? Stay tuned for the other resources in this series.